Maybe that's why I'm so much taller than the rest of my family. I was just infusing my bones with more bones. I've got double bones.
Hey, it's me, David Double Bone Benavides.
Yeah, you're switching it up. You're trying to keep this relationship spicy.
Interesting.
I appreciate that.
Over the course of the long term, I think I need to put in enough effort to keep it fresh and new, or else you're going to get bored. Or at least stale.
I do get bored easily.
Yeah, I know that. And so I have to put a lot into the romantic friendship that we have.
It's just like bread. If it gets stale, just put it in a blender and make some croutons.
That's true. We could make a delicious Podtimism salad out of all this.
Be some good stuff. Or like a French onion soup. French onion pod.
Man, I hadn't really fucked with French onion soup until very recently.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be all over it. It's like mostly cheese.
Yeah, that was kind of the selling point. I didn't really realize what it was. And someone's like, it's kind of just cheese and bread. And then there's some like soup under all that.
And there's like some really delicious onions that they're pretty much just onions.
Yeah.
With like some liquid.
It was a crazy discovery.
It's good stuff.
However,
French
this
food.
is not what I had to eat Podtimism. It's video game Podtimism.
Although I would probably listen to What I Had to Eat Podtimism.
Yeah, if it was just nothing but positive takes about very normal food, then yeah, I would definitely listen.
I'd be stoked because then I could meet one of my other heroes, Guy Fieri.
Yeah, he would for sure get on that pod.
Solid man.
Do you think you could ever interview Guy Fieri and just have him be like normal Fieri? Person Fieri?
Yeah. No, I've heard that podcast.
I need Person Fieri in my life, not Guy Fieri.
No, that's when I started to really see the other side of Guy Fieri. Listen to The Sporkful. There's an episode where he's on it. It's really good.
I'll give it a peep. But until then, it's Video Game Podtimism, the Optimists video game variety show. Where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of
video games. Oh, of gaming. Damn it.
Gotcha.
I'm going to learn.
The script prevails again. I am Chase, and I am neck deep in video games right now.
I'm David, and I'm maybe like waist deep. Yeah.
A regular amount.
Yeah, about normal. I'm like waiting,
Sure.
Wading through. It's good stuff.
Normally, I ask you what video games you're playing right now.
Yes, you do.
And last week, we flipped a script, and you were saying all the intros. But this week, I'm flipping the script.
Oh.
Because I'm going first. I'm going to tell you what fucking video games I'm playing.
All right. Keep it spicy. Switch. You're going to sleep on the other side of the bed today. Okay, cool.
Can you just imagine the intro music to Avatar: The Last Airbender for a second?
Oh, I just got chills. Yeah, I'm in it.
Grand Theft Auto, Dynasty Warriors, Apex Legends, Dota. Long ago, my video game consumption lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when the Dota Battle Pass released yesterday. Only Cyberpunk, master of all video games, could stop them, but when the world needed it most, it vanished. A day or two has passed, and my brother and I found that GTA 5 was actually fun, despite what we thought. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe GTA 5 can break me of my crippling addiction to Dota and the Battle Pass that released recently.
All right.
That's what I was writing down before we were starting.
I was about to say, is that what you took so long to write beforehand?
Yeah, because I definitely couldn't remember the intro to Avatar: The Last Airbender offhand.
No, I get it. But wait, so Cyberpunk is the Avatar, but yes. GTA 5 is what is saving you right now.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Unless I can time travel, in which case Cyberpunk can also be the Avatar.
That'd be tight.
I am playing some video games.
Which ones?
As indicated by my wonderful intro here. One that I didn't mention, Monster Train. That's kind of my starting point here.
Monster Train?
Monster Train.
Is that like the grown-up version of Dinosaur Train?
No, that's it is a deck-building RPG roguelike.
Oh my god, that is the most Chase Albee video game I may have ever heard of.
It it is not unlike Slay the Spire.
Yeah, that's your shit.
Which unfortunately enough consumes me. It's the mechanics of it are a little different. Like it plays out that you have like units that you kind of control rather than like just one guy in Slay the Spire. It's a little bit closer to Hearthstone in the way that you control like not enemies, but like units.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty good. It's fun. I for whatever reason the roguelike and deck building is very fun to me. Like it is the thrill of in Hearthstone where you are either doing a run through the arena and you draft like a really good deck or something. It's very exciting. Or when you open certain like packs and you get a legendary or something like that. It's just kind of thrilling all the way.
Totally.
Yeah, so that game is great. It kind of came out of nowhere. I really didn't realize that this was like coming out, but just Steam was like, hey, I bet you're going to like this. And I was like, actually, Steam, I do.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
I'm in. So yeah, that one got me. I unfortunately caved. I beat Dynasty Warriors Hyrule, beat that one, Hyrule Warriors.
Damn.
And my soul was left wanting. And so I bought Dynasty Warriors for Switch, and now I'm just real in it, baby.
Which one?
8.
Dynasty Warriors 8? How long ago was that made?
This one was from a little while ago. I think it came out in like 2013 or something.
Okay.
They had put out Dynasty Warriors 9, but it was sort of heralded, like, the reviews were all just kind of like, this is not a very good video game.
Mm-hmm.
And so they re-released 8 on Switch, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this.
All right. Is it scratching your itch?
It's, yeah, I've got a weird Dynasty Warriors rash that I'm trying to sedate right now, but it's getting there. It's got me there. It's fun. It's such a weird video game. The whole thing is just so weird.
So you have a Dynasty Warriors itch, and instead of applying like ointment to it, you're just applying more Dynasty Warriors to it.
I'm making my rash worse with more rash. Yeah, I'm treating it with rash.
Exactly.
It's such a strange game. I was playing it in bed the other day, and like the things people say in this video game are just obscene. Like there was this dude who runs up to me and he's like, I will beat you with my tactics, and then proceeds to just stand in front of me and hit me with his fucking sword like every other bimbo in this fucking game. And like you beat him, and then he's like, I'm retreating, don't think you've won. I'm like, at no point was this any different than any other fucking encounter in this video game.
Just what you said was different. That's it.
It's so silly. The whole thing is so weird.
Did you call him a bimbo?
I call him a bimbo.
I feel like that's a good way to describe the fighting in that game. The opponents that you fight. Just a bunch of bimbos.
Just a bunch of bimbos. Bimbology.
It's
bimbolous. It's bimbolous. The game is very bimbolous.
Bimbolous. Yes, that makes us sound very educated.
So I'm playing that. Still playing Apex. That's still fun. Still good. And the two big introductions into my gaming world right now. GTA 5. It was free on the Epic Game Store recently.
Oh, is it still free? Or is it Civ now?
It doesn't look like it's free now, but Civ 6 is free right now. So
I'd eat that.
It's good. It's a good game. So this was GTA 5 has had a similar arc in my own head to The Witcher with me. I have started Grand Theft Auto 5 probably like 6 times or something. Like I've played through the intro level so many times. And I'm not sure if it's just like I had different saves or whatever, but for whatever reason, I've fallen off each time, sort of feeling like the game wasn't all that fun. Yeah. And so I just kind of gave it a chance the other day, and it's been pretty good so far, like pretty fun. It's like a really good sandbox game. Like all those games are really fun in the sense that like it's a great open world that's fun to explore. I'm going to say something that I don't appreciate when I hear it, but here we are.
Okay. Are you about to say something not Podtimistic? Are you going to be a nasty boy right now?
No, I think I just don't usually like how the message is usually packaged. Okay. I really enjoy playing this game on PC specifically.
Really?
Playing it on my big old monitor with my fast PC, games running at 60 frames a second. I got lots of good looking stuff on screen because it's kind of an older game. It's like five years at this point or something. And so it's not super hard to max it out. It's a lot more enjoyable of experience to play when like everything is maxed out versus like on console, it's kind of chugging a little bit, and maybe you get some frame rate dips and shit like that. So for whatever reason, that's got me kind of there still. I don't know that I appreciate Grand Theft Auto's take on everything.
Sure.
Like, quite as much as I did when I was like 13 or something.
Yeah, they're definitely kind of try to be edgy, you know?
Yeah, it's like a pretty pessimistic take on the world.
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
I get where that's coming from, but I don't know. The way that they like sort of characterize who the people are in this world and how they act and who like the people who get ahead are and like that sort of stuff is just kind of a bummer to me.
For sure.
Nobody's really redeemable in that game, which again, I think is definitely the point. Like everybody's supposed to be kind of a shithead. Mm-hmm. But I find it hard to get invested when that's the case. Like I'm hunting for something to root for these guys on, and they're all just kind of shitty.
It's true. And that's how I felt about The Great Gatsby, to take it in a totally different direction than video games. But yeah. Just thinking about story-wise, like, I don't really like any of you, so why should I care? You know?
Yeah, and like that's a thing, right? Like if we're gonna spin off a little bit here into the literary world, like I didn't like Holden Caulfield, but Catcher in the Rye is a good book.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I get that there's a world for main characters that are sort of unlikable, but I think with Catcher in the Rye, there's sort of a realization that dawns on you in that book at some point that like this person just has it wrong. Like they're the reason that they're miserable and like the world is not this fucked up. They're kind of the main problem here. And I don't really think that that's the take that Grand Theft Auto puts forth. It's more of like the world is fucked, everybody's fucked, everything sucks.
Yeah.
And like I get it. I get where that's coming from, but I don't want to call that easy. I think you're putting yourself a little bit less on the line with that take than if you were to say most of the world is fucked and some people are good or something, right? Like I think I just have a hard time digesting that part of the narrative.
No, it's totally pessimistic, which is, this isn't video game pessimism.
It ain't.
Pod pessimism, you know, it's not what, I mean, it's just not how we see the world. Us too. There's definitely people out there who do see it that way.
Yeah.
But when I get, that's kind of my issue with the game too, is that when I just sit there and like try and get into it, I just feel just kind of gross at some point. Yeah. You know?
And I was trying to think about how to phrase this because it's odd. It's not all the like crime and killing that makes this game that way.
Exactly.
There are plenty of games that do that, and I like them for very different reasons. Like the violence and the like mature shit that's going on in there isn't really why I don't like it. It's more the story and more the people that they characterize. Whereas like another Rockstar game like Red Dead, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of on the other end of that, where their characters in that one I find a lot more digestible, I guess.
Yeah.
They seem realer, and I can sort of empathize with most of them in there.
It's more gray, right? It's like Game of Thrones, where it's like, yeah, you do shitty things, but are you a bad person, or are you just a product of the world, world, the environment, your upbringing, everything like that? Where it's like, okay, you can excuse it in your mind, some of the things that they do. Whereas in this one, it's like, okay, you're rich and you're still an asshole.
Yeah, and I think even GTA 4, I feel like had a more nuanced take on all the like pessimistic stuff that they were putting forth. Like it was a lot more about like how like an immigrant can come here and try and achieve what they want to, and it's like fucking hard, and that like it doesn't really always work out in the best way because the world is hard, rather than like these people are the characters in GTA 5 are irredeemable bad guys and you get to watch them fuck up. I don't know. It's not quite as enjoyable of a story, I guess.
No, I like Nico. I like Nico better.
Nico's a lot more rounded of a character, yeah.
Much more interesting, in my opinion. Might catch some flack for that, but
I feel like that's a pretty regular take. Like I feel like the story in 4 was a lot better, and like I don't know that people talked about the story in 5 being very groundbreaking.
I don't think it was.
Yeah. The mechanics of the game feel really good. Everything else feels incredible. I also want to do a quick note of the weird fucking control scheme that I've got going on right now. I'm playing with an Xbox controller. But whenever there's a shooting sequence, I'll hold my left hand on the controller, like yay. And I'll use my mouse in the other one. And it is such a satisfying experience to control someone's body with an analog stick, but a mouse with the reticle.
Interesting. Okay.
Because, like, it seems like each half of the controller in either direction is not meant for what it's doing. Like, the keyboard is a very bad way to move someone in 3D space with WASD.
Agreed.
It doesn't feel good. There's a little bit more nuance with an analog stick where you can kind of creep a little certain way or move in a bunch of different directions. But the right analog stick is also not the greatest way to aim a reticle. With a pointer, I'm much more accurate, can be much more specific with my movements. And so it's this weird, like, Frankenstein control scheme that I've somehow devised.
No, I like it. It sounds good.
It's very satisfying, and I wish that this was like a control option in some way. Like, I want just the left half of a controller.
You design it. I'll do the ergonomics, and we'll get this done.
Perfect. And now, the final game.
Let's hear it.
Dota 2 is back, baby.
This is bad for your health, Chase.
The battle pass dropped. Everything is fresh.
Okay.
The map is changed. The characters are balanced. We are back.
We are back. We're back in business.
Yeah, this is a problem for me.
How much have you already put into it? How much time?
Not very much. It came out just yesterday, so I can't possibly have put in all that much time.
Okay, that's good.
Me oh my, man,
me oh my.
The battle pass always gets me. Always gets me going. I mean, there's not much to say about it. Dota's Dota.
What about it in particular really just keeps you crawling back?
That answer has probably changed over time. Like why I played it the first 100 hours up to wherever the hell, like, ungodly amount of hours I'm in now. That has probably changed. I think originally it was fun. Like, if you're on a team of people who are good at it, it's like challenging and hard, and like there seems to be a pretty high level of mastery that you can achieve over this game. Like, just the sheer amount of characters is just astronomical. Each one of them plays absolutely different than every other character. And so, like, there's a lot to figure out just on the face of it. There's huge mechanics in the game, like just a swath of stuff that you have to understand and, like, figure out that takes a long time. And so I think mastery is definitely a part of it. The wins always feel really satisfying, especially if you're the reason that it's won. Because it's a 5-on-5 game. So, like, there's a lot of points where something could go wrong.
Sure.
Somebody doesn't know what they're doing, or, like, you know, just fucks up. The other team's better or something. And, like, that give and take of each team just really going at each other is pretty fun. It feels way more like a sport than a video game to me.
Sure.
Even on, like, Halo or Modern Warfare, like, you can be on a team, but by and large, it's a pretty solitary experience. Like, the other people fighting usually don't affect you that much, other than, like, maybe somebody will have your back or something. But in Dota, you live and die by how good your team is. You can be so fucking good at the game, and if the other 4 bozos on your team are bad, you will lose. And so the need for teamwork is really high, and it's very satisfying.
Okay.
Which will actually take me into Podtimistic thing.
Okay. Let's hear it.
It's the UI in Dota. It is such a complicated game. There are so many mechanics, and they have somehow figured out how to put it forth as, like, digestible for the most part. Like, for example, in Dota, there's, like, jungles, quote unquote, where there are mobs of bad guys that you can go kill that aren't really doing anything. They're just hanging out there. And if you go kill them, you get gold. And they respawn every minute or something like that. So you can just go wipe them out. In another minute, they'll all respawn and come back, and you can kill them again. There is a mechanic that I think was probably a mistake at first, called stacking, where you hit an enemy in one of those neutral camps, pull them out of where they usually fight, right at the time when the next mob will spawn. And so you can stack 2, like, mobs of dudes right there. And keep doing that, right? That way you're optimizing how many, like, people are in there, right?
Classic ding boys.
Ding boys, yeah. Like, you got to get ahead. And this is more just, like, competitive, right? Like, you're trying to gain an edge over the other team.
Yeah.
Of, like, we're optimizing our neutral stacks better than they are.
Sure. It's ridiculous, man.
And, like, this, when I first played this was not a communicated thing. You just had to know about this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, you would see people doing this, or somebody on your team being like, hey, can you stack, like, anybody who's like a bigger, tougher character who needs to get those guys down and kill them to get gold and power themselves up more. They would say, hey, can you stack the neutral camps? And everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, anybody who doesn't know what the game is like, I have no idea what that is. However, in the most recent, or maybe one of the older updates, if you hold the Alt key, there's timers next to them now. And, like, it'll say, hey, you need to hit them now to pull them out to, like, stack them here, because they've just sort of embraced that this is a mechanic. And so they're in the UI conveying, like, we need to communicate how to do this to people, so that even if you aren't aware, there's some indication, like, hey, something could happen if you hit these guys at this time. So that people kind of naturally discover this mechanic rather than having to, like, get flamed for not knowing it.
Damn.
And that's all the way through the whole game. Like, there's just so much UI information that comes through fairly clearly, I'd say.
That's impressive in a dense game. Like,
yeah,
Divinity does a mediocre job of that.
It would suck, yeah. Like, it's hard to figure all that out, especially to new players. And even to me, I played this game so many hours, and sometimes I'll be like, wait, like, I don't remember. Is this camp like the one you have to pull at 53 seconds or 55? I don't remember, like, all that shit. And yeah,
the game sounds stressful.
It is up to a point. I think, like, when you're playing the game and you can kind of just focus on, like, one thing that you want to get better at, that's where it's fun. Because you don't have to do this shit. Like, it's just a way to gain an edge.
Yeah.
And push comes to shove, like, it's still a MOBA. It's still one of those, like, competitive games where, like, positioning and character understanding is, like, the most important part.
Sure.
Like Overwatch, right? Like, if you know all the characters and you know where to be and kind of how to shoot, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But all this extra stuff is just like, if you're up against somebody who's really good, then you have to do a bunch of extra stuff to be good at it. Dota, man. I could talk about this fucking game for hours.
Wait, so isn't it the same thing as League, though?
Oh, man. He said it with such a straight face. You said it like it was a genuine question and not just this little pinprick in my side.
I mean, it's both. It is a genuine question, but it was also something I know that would bother you. Yes. Guilty as charged.
It is different. I mean, they're both MOBAs. Like, they're the bones of both of those games are pretty similar. It's a 5-on-5 game where you have to push one team back into their base and blow up their base. That's it. I'd say it differs on a couple ways that, like, have changed over the years, I think. Like, specific stuff around, like, item buying, the character rotation. Like, League only allows you to play a certain amount of characters right at the beginning. And you have to, like, quote unquote buy more characters with, like, this in-game currency that you can accrue. Like, it's not impossible to do. But Dota's just like, hey, here's fucking 80 characters, go wild. And I think that was probably what pulled me in the first place, was just like, I have the whole roster at my fingertips.
Everybody's here,
including Snake. Yeah, I don't know. It may just be that I learned how to play Dota first, and that's probably the real answer, is that these games are both very fucking similar, and I just like the one I know how to play better. But I maintain that League is for babies who like baby video games. So just go ahead and leave it at that one.
More than any other game or any other topic, this one makes your nasty boy come out and start rearing its head.
It does. I don't really have a lot of hotter takes than that one.
You really don't. Well, anyways,
half an hour in. What video games are you playing, David?
Yeah, about that. Let's see. What have I been playing? Here. I'll give you one guess as to what this is. Yeah.
You appear to be doing lines of an illicit drug. Who does cocaine in a video game?
It's not cocaine. It's a game that's like cocaine to me. It's City Skylines. But
oh God, you're back.
On the PlayStation 4.
Dallery Town is back
in business. It was free on PlayStation 4 the other day, along with a couple other free downloadable contents. And there's just that little bit extra that's available on the PlayStation 4 version than the Switch version. It's like a
sure it runs a little
brand
bit
new,
better,
it's
too.
a brand new experience, baby. It runs way better, and the graphics are way better. But man, yeah, once again,
Into it once again.
it was just like there goes 3 hours.
Wow,
Goodbye.
you're back in it. Do you think you're going to get farther than you were originally, or is this a temporary game?
It's going to be different.
Okay.
I downloaded the Green Cities DLC for free.
Okay.
So I'm doing I'm doing a totally green city.
Why not purple or blue?
Because those are baby colors. They're for babies.
Wow.
Yeah. Green cities are for adults with big brains. Okay?
That's fair. I get your take. I understand it. I also like that you curved around my dad joke.
Yeah.
You bent it like Beckham around there.
My dad has hit me with a lot of dad jokes over the years, so I have become very adept at sidestepping them.
You learned dad judo.
I learned dad.
Took my momentum and
judo.
threw it into a better joke.
The dad judo apprentice has become the dad judo master. Now I have the ability to throw dad jokes at others.
And I believe David can save my dad.
But no, it's ecologically friendly cities. So I'm essentially making Portland. No, it's good. And there's all sorts of little different visual changes that they make for ecologically friendly houses. And then all of my commerce buildings are small, independently owned agriculture, farm stands and shit like that. And then my industrial business is all just farming. That's it. So yeah, I'm just being a little tree hugger.
That's nice. That's good.
We'll see
it's a
how it
feel-good
goes.
story.
So there's that. It's like crack to me. And it's like crack to me. And then also The Witcher. Been still doing The Witcher.
Nice.
Interesting game in that I've noticed that a lot of The Witcher is not action.
Yeah, there's not always that much fighting in that game.
Yeah. So sometimes if I just want like a chill game, I'll play The Witcher and I'll just be the chiller instead of The Witcher. And I'll just do like side quests where it's just like requires me to walk around and do my little Witcher sense and talk to people.
Follow some stink lines around the forest.
Stink lines around the forest and get really frustrated that I'm colorblind. So doing that, that's been good. I dipped my toes back into Overwatch.
Interesting.
Just for a hot second, because there's a lot of new characters.
Yeah, that's true.
And it still itches that scratch when it's just like, I don't want to really think. I don't really want to. I just want to like murder things and just like feel really powerful. And that's when I go to mystery heroes. When it's just like, that's probably my most played mode on the game.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, because the whole entire choosing a character thing and the dynamic with your team is just too much stress for me sometimes.
It can be intense sometimes.
And I'm just like, I want to play Overwatch, but I don't want to deal with those team dynamics. So I'm just going to throw those out the fucking window. And it's just like,
mystery.
This is the character I got. This is the team we got. Let's make the best of it.
I didn't know this.
No, this is my most played mode by far.
Whoa.
By far. But you know me, I play random on Smash Bros. So this is what I like.
I do know that.
I play competitive mystery heroes, actually.
Wow.
It's pretty tough. That's where the real men go to play Overwatch. Actually, I'm sorry. That's where the real Overwatch players go to play Overwatch.
That's true. That's fair. I almost strictly play ranked in Overwatch.
I know, because you're a dirty, dirty ding boy, and you're
I'm
in
a
it
dirty,
just
dirty ding boy.
You're in it just to get that promotion. I'm in it, have a good time, and just have a laugh, and maybe feel like a god every now and then. Because I just go on a killing streak.
Yeah, fair.
But no, that was really nice, and I was like, it's a nice game to play when I'm like frustrated with something, because I just go in, play a couple games, and I feel a little bit better.
Interesting. Okay.
And then, of course, been playing Divinity.
Yeah.
Had a pretty long session last night. We went to go save the game, and Mallory was disgusted by the amount of time that we've already put into it, which is already clocking in about 55 hours.
Hey now. That's pretty good.
It's a lot of video game. Yeah.
That's a lot of video game, but like not unreasonable for a video game.
Not for that type of video game, I would say.
No, definitely.
Yeah, for like an RPG.
But I can definitely imagine having not played a ton of video games like that, that Mallory would be like, what the actual fuck am I doing?
She had that moment.
How could I possibly have spent 55 hours doing this?
What the fuck are we doing?
Mallory, if it makes you feel any better, I'm approaching 2,000 hours in Defense of the Ancients too.
Yeah. This is your cautionary tale, Mal.
Don't play Dota, Mallory. It's not good.
Not good for your health.
No.
Sounds good. She's been a little bit more combative with me lately in the game after that last podcast that she listened to. In just like funny, playful ways. Not like, well, maybe a little bit actually underneath the surface, but for the most part, just like, well, you got to go kill that woman now. You're going to steal her money? Huh? You think I'm going to go do that? And then there's like one of these little like loading screen tips that they do. Mm-hmm. And then she read this one out loud to me as I was in the other room making us a snack bowl for when we play the game. And she's just like, be careful in town that you can't just go around killing whoever you want. Otherwise, guards will be at your doorstep. And she didn't say anything. And I was just like,
I know what's happening here.
I know what's happening here. You are being tiny bit, well, that's more just aggressive.
You know?
But she's got to be who she's got to be.
This is good. There's a metagame developing around it. This is nice.
Yeah. So it's a narrative now. But it's been good. Still really fun game. Still keeping me interested. But I probably would not have been interested if it wasn't for
the dynamic here.
Yes, the dynamic. I didn't say and then just stop thinking for like 10 seconds. So I'm a smart boy. So those are what I've been really playing lately.
Sweet.
And then my video game Podtimistic thing of the week.
Tell me. I'm begging you.
I think I might have used this one before, but once again, it is the way that video games can connect to seemingly different people to each other. Mm-hmm. Not just in a game space, and not just even through playing a game, but just through the shared experience of gaming.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit different of a take than the last time.
Yeah, because this time I'm thinking about a patient I have who's a young boy, or a strapping young lad, and just we talk about video games when he comes into the clinic every time.
Sweet.
And it's just like, okay, yeah, I know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I'll probably maybe learn a couple things about a different game. I'll share something. And it's just nice. It's just nice to have him be able to kind of open up and have that outlet. And for me to actually be able to understand and have those common experiences. Because he's like, yeah, I was talking about him like what video game console he's going to get when the new ones come out. And he's like, PS5, because God of War is just so good. And I was just like, Damn.
True fact,
you
dude.
know your games, man. You know your games.
A man of culture, I see.
Man of culture. But then I felt really bad because then I realized how old he was when the first God of War came out. And it was not very old at all.
Pretty harrowing experience.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it. I'm just like, oh, you were really young when the first God of War came out. And he's like, yeah. It's just like, shit.
Do you know if he played those?
I mean, his fine motor skills were not developed at that point.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he had maybe gone back. Yeah,
it's possible. I could have asked, but I wanted to change the subject at that point.
That's something I'm genuinely curious about, because like when you and I were like playing video games, there wasn't that much of a backlog of video games to sort of catch up on. Mm-hmm. Like when Nintendo 64 came out, I feel like that was when I was like first really jumping into like, I own my own console. I am playing my own video games.
Totally.
Whereas like, you know, my cousin had a Super Nintendo and my brother had a Nintendo, the original Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And so like going back and playing those games wasn't that far removed from where I was playing them in the first place.
Sure.
But I'm genuinely curious if folks who like are younger now are playing games from, 10, 15 years ago. I would sort of expect that they would play like very old games, the ones that are kind of accessible, right? Like I feel like it's really hard to have not played the first Mario game. Like it's just fucking everywhere. Mm-hmm. Versus like God of War 2. Are you going to, is somebody going to go find a PlayStation 2 and put that in there and get a disc? Like that seems sort of like a hard proposition. And so I would be really interested to know if any of our listeners are among this age range. Like, do you play those video games? Or like, I don't know. I'd be really interested in that.
Are you a remaster bimbo like Chase Albee is?
Correct. Yes.
Do you? Are you? I guess the question is: are those remasters targeted towards you, someone who actually played the game before, or are they targeted more towards the young kids who didn't have the chance to play those games?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I feel
both,
like you
probably,
could probably both, but I definitely play the remasters for like nostalgia factor most of the time.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately enough carries me through a lot of it, but there are certainly games that have been remastered or re-released that I'm like, damn, this still kind of holds up. And like Wind Waker, I feel like held up really well when we played through the remaster on Wii U.
That one was really good on Wii U.
Yeah.
Dang, that was a fun game. That was real good controls.
Little wink and a nod happening here.
Chase had a great time. He knows he did.
That's sweet. I definitely I feel like the shared experience of video games is something that is kind of a little bit newer. Like when I was younger, I feel like the people that I talked to video games about, I definitely knew that they were people who played video games versus like, sometimes I'll run into somebody and like just be talking to them or something. I'm like, hey, have you played this? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you don't look like the type to have gotten through God of War or something like that, right? Like, it seems like very odd. But I think it's just such a more widespread medium now that a lot of people play it, which is cool. I like that.
It really is much more mainstream nowadays than when we were doing it as little boys. Yeah,
which again, I like that. I like that part about it, that like a ton of people play games. Like I think the medium is super cool, and I definitely don't think it's like, I don't know, shittier for having like not true fans or something like that.
Totally.
It's great that a ton of people play.
Yeah, the only downside about video games is that when new consoles come out, you have to figure out what TV you need to buy.
Fair.
And then it's very stressful and confusing. And
some personal experience here.
You just want to give up at a certain point. It's so much information. It's so much information, man. And it's all just numbers. It's all numbers, man. I don't know what those numbers mean. There's numbers. There's like 7-string numbers in the fucking names of these TVs.
Got to figure out which one's better, though.
And then it's like all these acronyms. It's like, oh, this one has VDV, but this one has HDR10, but this one has the rigmarole, and this one has boo-boo butt. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's too much. It's too much.
Well, let me sedate your troubled soul with our next segment, my friend.
All right. Let's move on. I said boo-boo butt, so it's time to move on.
I don't remember quite how this had come up, but I was wandering around the internet. I think it was shortly after the announcement of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 being re-released to much fanfare. I'm pretty hyped on this.
I'm so stoked on those two coming out.
Yeah, you texted me that this was like a big deal. I don't know why I didn't know that you were such a pro skater boy.
I was a huge pro skater boy because that was definitely the closest I was ever going to come to feeling like punk or cool as a kid.
Yeah.
Or athletic as a kid.
Yeah. I was texting M's brother the other day, and he had said that the Tony Hawk games had captured, like, not specifically skateboarding, but like the culture and the vibe of skateboarding.
Totally.
And that was really, I thought that was so interesting that, like, the music is such a big part of it, and
exactly,
like the aesthetic and shit like that. Like the whole game is just it drips with culture, which is something that I don't feel like a lot of other games do, really. I think it was for a lot of people like an entry point into like that kind of music too.
Totally. Kind of like ska-ish, punk-ish.
Yeah, just a little bit deeper rock roots there. And also hip-hop. There was also hip-hop in that game, which was also very good.
There was, yeah.
But I digress. That is a topic for another day. I had found a video game that I had like played back in the day, but was sort of lost to my own memory hole. And I forgot that it existed, but it is such a bizarre video game that I really needed to talk about it.
You drew that memory out for me as well. It was buried somewhere deep, deep inside of me, and then you sent me the picture of the controller, and I was like, oh, damn, I do remember this.
Yeah. The game we were talking about is Yanya Caballista, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
City Skater.
Also, just really quick, for some reason, Yanya Caballista, doesn't it sound like it could be the thing that the person says at the beginning of the Harlem Shake?
Yanya Caballista. Yeah, no, actually, I can't.
Yanya Caballista! All right, you have your editing set out for you for the week now. So that's the only one we'll do.
I just need like a soundboard of shit that I can just sort of sing along to and do it during we're recording rather than after.
Okay.
I would have had to known to cue up the Harlem Shake, a very relevant song to 2020.
It had a little bit of a comeback.
A little bit here and there. People are like, hey, remember this weird thing?
Yeah, it was more like a, hey, remember when we did this thing back in 2012?
It's, Jesus, time. Let me hit you with some quick facts about Yanya Caballista.
Give me the QFs.
Sure. So it came out October 1st of 2002.
Oh, damn.
So this came out still within the window of skateboarding is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 came out this year.
Okay.
So Tony Hawk had definitely been around for a little while. But it was still like, damn, these games are fun.
Yeah.
It was made by a company called Cave Interactive Co.
Okay.
Which was a company that largely just released games in Japan and mostly arcade games. Mm-hmm. Like they were not necessarily a hugely console-based game company, although they did release some games for console. To that end, I looked through their history, and there weren't that many games that came stateside, and the ones that did, I like barely even recognized. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's not a company that I was super familiar with based on their releases. However, they were originally from, like, this game was birthed out of the death of Toaplan Co., which was another game company that had just like dissolved shortly before this one was founded. They were, again, also mostly a arcade game maker.
Okay.
And they have the coolest names for video games that I had ever read. I just like looked over this list and I was like, damn, these are so fucking cool. All right. Knuckle Bash, Grindstormer, Gox, Outzone, Hellfire, Fire Shark, Zero Wing, Twin Hawk, Truxton, Twin Cobra, Sky Shark, Guardian, Tiger Heli. It just goes on and on.
It doesn't sound like, those don't sound like video games. It sounds like you're announcing the roster to a fighting game.
Yeah. Like
Fire Shark, Twin Hawk, Guardian.
It's crazy. The whole way down, I was like, God damn, these guys know how to name a video game.
It's pretty good. They keep it simple. They keep it simple, simple and clean, some would say.
What else about this company? I think that was mostly it. Yeah, point being that the majority of their games were based out of Japan, and I think the pedigree of the folks who worked at this company were more used to developing like games for arcades. And I think usually that entails some amount of product design, like physical product design.
Sure.
Rather than just video game design. So just bear that in mind when we talk about Yanya.
That was like Yanya. Yanya. Yanya.
Is it Kendrick?
Yanya. Yeah. Sorry. That was deep. That was a deep Kendrick cut.
I will try and edit that one in there too.
I'm sorry. I told you I wasn't going to do any more, but that one just came out. With a name like Yanya Caballista.
It's tough. It's tough not to.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
It's right there. So the game itself is a skateboarding game. It's cel-shaded and sort of looks like Jet Set Radio in a certain way.
Big Jet Set Radio vibes for sure, yeah.
Like they're kind of going after that vibe. I will leave the prestige of why this game is interesting until after I read you a review.
Where's this from?
So this review is from IGN. So
America?
America.
You didn't run this one through Google Translate?
So I did. Here's the new vibe.
Oh, okay.
So out with the old. The old is running one non-English language through a translator to English to get something kind of silly. That's old. That's tired, not funny anymore.
Yeah, that's an old gag.
Yeah, fresh gag now. Pulling something out of the factory fire. You take it in English and then just run it through about 100 different languages, translating until you get back to English.
You have time to do this?
It's pretty easy on Translate. You just hit Translate, pick a language, drop down, flip it so that it's now in the left-hand column, pick another language in the right, flip it, and just keep going through and through and through until, you get back to English.
Whoa. Okay.
Not hard. From IGN in 2005. Ignore skiers until they feel stupid and don't want to do stupid things. Normal players need to be careful to commit a crime and buy it. The story is good, but the effects take a lot of time. Like Tony Hawk Pro Scatter 5, the decision was made.
Pro Scatter?
4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Tony Hawk Pro Scatter.
That's a very different game.
It's a very different game.
Very different game.
4 out of 10 from IGN for Yanya Caballista.
Damn, but it had a good story. Didn't they say that?
Maybe. I did not write down the original review, so I can neither confirm nor deny that they thought the story was good.
The Translate said it, so it must be true, right? That's amazing. That's great.
This is the word of IGN.
This is the word of our Lord, IGN.
So the game mechanics are that you have to do tricks to beat aliens. Aliens have invaded, and you're going to do skateboarding tricks to beat them.
I watched a video because I had no idea, and apparently you're doing tricks that will blow their minds, which actually just make their brains blow up. Is that correct?
Yes. You are killing aliens with the power of your skateboarding stunts.
That is such an early 2000s premise for a video game. That's beautiful.
I'd take it, man.
PS2 era video game premise.
If somebody sold me that video game today, I would play it. Kill aliens with skateboarding stunts. Let's fucking go. I will play that video game.
There's so many games from the PS2 era that are just essentially like the crazy Charlie meme. Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it gets made. Like
somebody had an
Damacy.
idea and they're like, fuck it, we got $50,000. Let's do it.
Right. There's Katamari Damacy. There was... oh my God! What was that game where it was like the
Mr. Mosquito?
Mr. Mosquito. The other game where you're fighting the giant bugs. Earth Defense Force.
Or Defense Force. Still being put out. That game is still out
going.
There. There's a speedrunning community around Earth Defense Force.
There's a speedrunning community?
Oh yeah, baby.
Like from that episode of Malcolm in the Middle?
What? No. What?
Power walking was Malcolm in the Middle.
Different.
Speed walking is different than power walking, as Dota is different than League of Legends. Speed running, isn't that just running?
No, speed running is when you try and beat a video game very quickly.
Oh, I thought it was like you're actually running.
Physically. No.
I was very confused. I was like, are there people just like dressed up as Earth Defense Force people?
Running
with,
a marathon,
like,
yeah.
Portable versions of the game, just playing it? I was so confused. My mind was not on speed running of a video game at all. Anyways.
That's fair. We're not hosting a video game podcast.
Yeah, is that what we have to say? Anyways, edit that out, Chase. Edit it out. More work for you.
My snark will not be edited out. People need to understand our relationship and how it's degrading.
To who? Both of us?
I don't know.
I mean, I'll degrade you a little bit if you want.
Hey, winky face.
You're just letting that nasty boy show right now.
Wow. So the coolest thing about this video game, I need to get to this.
Let's hear it.
They shipped the video game with a physical device. It is a fingerboard, as folks would call it.
Yeah, those things were real hot as a toy back then.
It is a finger-sized skateboard. Someone said, let's make Tech Deck into a video game. I was
about to say, what were those called again? Tech Decks. Yeah.
Tech Decks. So there's these little nubs on the bottom of this like Tech Deck looking thing that's like attached to your PlayStation 2 analog sticks. So you've essentially got a skateboard attached to your controller. Mm-hmm. And so you have to like pilot your character by moving the analog sticks around, which is attached to the skateboard. And so your little fingers are trying to move your character left and right, up and down. If you click back, it does like an ollie, and you can move, like jump a little bit. Depending on how you move in the air, it does like tricks and stuff. And so they were essentially saying, like, let's not make the Tony Hawk game just a controller. Let's make it an actual fucking skateboard for your fingers.
Mm-hmm. Pretty inventive, to be honest. Pretty brave to do.
I think this is going to be a fairly short segment because that is all I've got to say. That is a crazy idea for a fucking video game. How does that get funded where they're like, I think let's just put a skateboard on the controller?
You don't make them like they don't make them like they used to.
I guess not.
You can't send out Call of Duty Modern Warfare 5000 with a fucking AR-15, that's for sure.
Yeah, holy shit. It's nuts. Yeah, what a fucking wild choice for a video game. And I feel like I see this every now and then that game developers who were around or at least involved in arcade development were a lot more open to different control schemes than folks who were like strictly software development companies.
Now, once you said that they were an arcade company, it all started to make more sense. I'm just like, okay, yeah, that would be an interesting arcade game where you just have like a giant skateboard that you could either stand on or just like touch with your hands and do tricks with.
I'm pretty sure there is that arcade game. Like I've seen skateboarding video games where you like have the two rails on your side and you like have to put your feet on it and shit.
Totally.
Like, for whatever, I guess just because you don't have to ship as many units, but arcade games tend to, I feel like, be more open to experimentation with how you control something. Because you got quite a few different varied stuff in there, right? Like the obvious one is like the light gun games, like Time Crisis and House of the Undead and all that shit. Or House of the Dead, rather. And then you have like a bunch of the other games. Do you remember that boxing game that you had to physically put like the heavy plastic boxing
There
things
was that
on?
one. I think that same cabinet also did that cop game where you're a cop. And you had to do like real squats. It was like a workout, which was a lot for me at that age. So those games were both fun. They're always remember the one that was like that mech battle game where you get to go into that fucking mech cockpit over at Laser Force.
You pull it onto your head and shit.
That one was the best. I always loved those ones, but they're always like $5 for like a session.
Expensive.
And I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm not made out of money, man. I'm a kid.
There was was it Silent Scope where you had the sniper,
the giant sniper rifle. That was a good one. Or like
Arctic Thunder, where it had a little fan in the front.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, it makes you realize how sweaty you are in this fucking arcade. That's just cesspool of nasty children. Jurassic Park game.
I was about to say there's a lot of games that had like the seat that would kind of move around and fuck with you all the time.
That one was always good. Those ones were always fun.
A straight bop, the Star Wars game where your little like joystick controlled the lightsaber.
Oh yeah. That one was good.
But yeah, point being, there's a lot more experimentation with arcade games. And so I think folks who are in that realm are more willing to take a risk of like, let's just see what happens if we can put a skateboard on a controller. As it turns out, the game is very hard to play. A controller on dual sticks are not easy to play. Like it's not a particularly fun game. I remember even at the time being like, this is fucking hard. Like, I do not know that this is a particularly quote-unquote fun game, but...
Yeah, it's so hard that it's not fun anymore.
Correct, yeah. And there, I don't even remember there being that much of it. It was just, like, kind of tough to get through. So I think this is probably one of the worst quote-unquote reviewed games that we've looked at, but... I definitely wanted to broach it just for the simple fact that this is a wild control scheme to put forth.
Totally. No, I watched the one video I watched. The guy said that the tutorial session of the game where it teaches you to play is 44 separate gaming instances, right? It has to teach you 44 different things.
Like it loads you into another session.
That's too many. That is too many.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's got to be more simple.
Like, I feel like this is, I'm sure Skate didn't rip these guys off, but it's in a similar family to Skate of like, we want the controller to feel a little bit more like almost a simulation of the real thing.
But Skate was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Skate quite a bit.
I think they rode the line a little bit better of, we want this to feel like a simulation, but it also needs to be fun. Like, you need to be able to do a kickflip pretty quickly after jumping in the game.
Exactly. Or at least an ollie, you know.
Yanya took fucking forever. It was so hard to like figure out just how to hold the thing. And she, oh god,
it's just like, tough. Damn, I might as well just go actually ride a skateboard.
Yep.
For how difficult this is.
Yeah, no, correct.
Actually learn how to do it.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have any positive memories to say of this game? Anything that really stands out for it besides that it was so unique?
I think the art style was cool. It was definitely like of its time. Mm-hmm. I really, really enjoyed Jet Set Radio. And so like anything else in sort of that cell shaded vibe is pretty cool. I think it also was trying to capture skate culture, which was maybe a popular thing to do, but in hindsight it functions as sort of a time capsule that's pretty fun. And I enjoy those style of games quite a bit.
And what initially drew you to this game? What made you say, Mom, Dad, I want this game in particular?
The controller, baby. I saw it in like GamePro or something, and I was like, I got to figure out what's going on.
I need a tech deck on my controller.
Yep.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Did you ever try to use the tech deck controller to play another game?
Oh my God, no. I didn't even think.
You should play like God of War or something.
I mean, it would be nearly impossible. Because like if you
most it's so confusing because one side is the move around, one side is move the camera, right?
The camera, yeah. Rarely do you want both of those things going in the same direction. Like
maybe you should pop it on your DualShock now and do a run through of Dark Souls or something, or Sekiro.
The Yanya run of Dark Souls.
I see the YouTube video now. So I did a Yanya run of Dark Souls, and it's just you holding up the controller with your head down like this, just shaking your head. I know how to make a clickbait.
Okay. Anything else?
No, you've answered all of my questions. I'm kind of glad I never played this game.
Yeah. At least never bought it.
Sure, I would have played it.
It's fun to play, but you don't need to buy the video game.
Yeah, that's just another plastic piece of junk around the house.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move on to our next thing. So, we talked about Yanya Caballista. With their creative juices flowing through our mind, I thought it might be a good idea to give some current video games the same treatment. Come up with a very novel physical hardware attachment or controller for some popular video games.
Okay.
So I've got some video games here that we can figure out.
Let's hear it.
So the first one is Kingdom Hearts 3. We need to come up with a good way to control the game. And I do have a proposition for the first one, just to kind of get our juices rolling.
Uh-huh.
I think the controller should be something that wraps around your chest. It's like a little a meter, right? And you have to feel sad and emotional to be able to beat the game better. Like if you're a sadder and vibier, if you are sadder and vibier in your emotional state, the game becomes more, you get the true ending of Kingdom Hearts.
Okay. No, I get it. So it's going to be like a heart rate monitor, one of those ones that go around your chest, or if you have a Fitbit, perfect. And then also something that goes around your head that reads your brain electrical levels.
Yeah, or we could invent magic and just have it read your heart for your emotions too.
That's boring, Chase. No one wants magic. That's not how it works.
Ansem did. Sora did.
You have to get your mood ring to say that you're sad, and then you put it on the controller, and then you beat the game.
Fair. Okay, so yeah, just a first thought. Just a first thought. I've got some other games.
Are these real controllers, though, or are we going to do fake magic controllers?
Whatever comes to your mind, baby. The inside of Kingdom Hearts is light, David. Follow your truth.
No way, man. No way.
It's full of darkness.
Not if Rockstar made the game, that's for sure.
It's true. It's a real pessimistic take there. Can you design me a better controller for Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, okay. So it's a multi-part controller.
Okay.
So you get some spurs.
Okay.
That you can put on your boots or your shoes, and that controls like when you walk around or if you want to make your horse go faster. And then you also get a little rootin' tootin' shooting plastic guns.
Sure.
Both hips, of course. Of course, for gunplay. It's just little light guns, nothing crazy. And then, of course, a hat. So you can doff your cap to warmly greet or be mean to the denizens of the world.
Sure.
New Elizabeth, is that it?
I hope that there's a mechanic in there where you can take off your hat and slap it on your knee like an old prospector when you're mad. Oh, dang it. Damn it. Like when you lose a fight or something.
Yeah, it determines how far away the hat is to your spurs. Right? So once it hits a certain level, then it'll trigger that that animation. Yeah.
I think we should put a microphone somewhere in this control scheme because I do want people to have to speak like a cowboy. Like if you give a good howdy, then like they'll be more into it.
Yeah.
Or like the people will respond better.
Sure. And if you don't say, "Oh, you're all right, girl," to your horse.
Come on, girl.
It's not going to listen to you. It's not going to love you.
That's a good girl.
Come on, get. That's pretty good ones.
Okay. I think in addition to this, there will be a lock on your stirrups so that like they stay on your legs. And even if you really want to take them off, you have to in-game go talk to Dutch, who will say like, "Oh, you can take them off soon. We just got to get one more score." Just so you really feel the narrative pressure of wanting to get the fuck out of Dutch's gang, but you kind of can't.
Oh, man.
You need 25 more Rockstar bucks to get out of your stirrups.
You get a little shock through your hat every time you try and leave. It's like, nope.
Not today, Mr. Morgan.
I got you by your spurs, Arthur.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll get that one out. I need a novel controller for Death Stranding, David.
The novel controller is your own 2 feet, which you will then take to go and make connections with new people that you've never met before.
Hideo Kojima would absolutely ship you the verified Death Stranding controller that is an empty fucking box, and it just says "Go outside" in it, and you pay $100 for it.
Go outside with just a picture of him flipping you off in it. Just use your damn feet.
I was going to try and make a joke about giving you a very heavy backpack that you have to load up with shit, but this is much better.
It's just nothing.
It's nothing. Yeah, you have to go make real life connections.
The secret
Hideo
controller
will know. Hideo will know if you do make real life connections.
You've had the perfect controller for this game the whole time.
We've decided for this new generation of consoles, there is no controller. Actually, no, I was saying that like a joke. I swear to God they said that during the Connect E3, where they were like, your body is the controller now.
Or probably the iToy unveiling as well.
The good old iToy. Not a great name in hindsight.
No. People always talk about the Kinect, but the iToy was the first.
It was first. Kind of early, too, if I remember correctly.
I mean, that was on the PS2.
Deep. Long time ago.
Way long ago.
Do you have a novel controller for Fortnite, David?
Yeah, it's your dad's credit card.
Damn. Shooting hard on Fortnite just now.
No, that was mean. But also a little true.
Also a little true. Let me put forth this idea.
Mm-hmm.
We give people a tiny, tiny diorama, little pieces of wood that you can shove in there and build in the real game.
I just like they have to like take tweezers, like Operation, the board game, and like make whatever they want to make.
Yeah, and that'll build in the real game. However, if you get shot in this, there will be tiny little pellets that come out and hit your fingers while you're trying to do this.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
But you could have ups the ante, man.
So if you want to work on your fine motor skills, that one's great. But if you
until it starts to damage your fingers, yes.
Exactly. But if you want to work on more like strengthening, you could just have like a big old hammer and like a saw. And it's just like to make something, you just have to like wiggle them back and forth really quick. And then they'll shock you if you get shot.
Yeah,
right?
That's nice.
And then also they're going to have safety straps, just like the Wii.
Yeah, otherwise, you can't be throwing your hammers around your house.
Otherwise, you're going to just throw that into your TV, of course.
Those are good ones. How about Super Mario Party?
Mario Party? It's definitely a knife to stab your friends in the back with.
It's just a real knife.
It's just a real knife. It's a steak knife.
It's an actual physical blade.
anything that you can just, preferably into your best friend's back first. Just to show people that you're not messing around.
It's the nuclear option in Super Mario Party. It's just on the table in front of everyone all the time.
If
things get bad enough, you can use the Mario Party controller.
If anybody's got any issues with what we do here,
take it up with the table knife.
Here's your answer.
Go ahead and grip the controller, and you tell me that I'm wrong.
Just mutually assured destruction. Everybody has their own table, has their own knife.
I feel like with one being there, it's a much more dangerous and tense situation. If everybody has their own,
terrifying.
There's going to be a lot of stabbing. If there's only one, who's going to break? Who's going to lunge for this real life weapon?
So one person will win still in the end.
The game plays out very much the same, but if you reach for the knife and do end up killing one of your friends, which is not advised by Nintendo, Reggie Fils-Aimé does not endorse this this way of playing Mario Party. Mm-hmm. But you do lose. You do lose the video game if you've done this.
No, what will happen is that if the blade senses blood, right?
Magically, if the blade tastes human flesh.
Once the blade tastes blood of a human, it will emblazon your palm with the loser star symbol. So you will forever be scarred and know that you are the biggest loser of all.
A scarlet W will be placed on your forehead for Wario or Waluigi.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually.
That's the sequel to A Scarlet Letter.
the Scarlet Wah.
Scarlet Wah. Okay.
Damn.
How's about Animal Crossing?
It's a dog. It's a dog.
It's a dog. Okay, that's a lot more positive than the last one we came up with.
It just sits with you on the couch and you pet it. And if you pet it and tell it that it's a good boy or girl and it wags its tail, it'll give you extra bells.
Wow. This is a very good controller.
There you go. And of course it has a collar on that makes sure that the dog is being properly cared for and it's healthy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I've got whiplash from coming from kill your best friends and lose and maybe get branded forever to pet a dog and the game goes better.
Video games are a very diverse medium, Chase.
They're a very diverse medium for lots of different people.
Between two very different Nintendo first-party family games.
I'm hoping that with the controller there will be a credit card statement that shows up in your mail for an exceeding amount of debt.
Which one? For Animal Crossing?
Yeah, for Animal Crossing. It's like the real game.
I get it. You got to pay the dog off first before you start getting bells in the game.
Right. And you can attach the credit card statement to your dual analog sticks if you want to. It has a couple of sensors on the bottom of it.
There you go.
You can put on there and play Yanya Caballista with them.
Yeah. Yanya.
That's the end of my games. Do you have any games that you would like to add to the pile?
Cities Skylines.
It is a full room that is delivered to your home on your front door.
Whoa.
It is the interior of a bureaucrat who works at the city doing city planning. It is a full body experience. You walk into this room and you are transported to another place. It's a lot of paperwork.
Emily Alice is there.
Just physically, just there.
She's like, oh, hey, what's up?
We're going to work now.
I'm going to go get some coffee. Do you want anything?
You are locked in this place. You will actually be working as a city planner.
How do you get out?
You beat the game.
That's so long.
Yeah.
Damn.
These cities ain't going to plan themselves, David. This is sort of a trap, I think. I think what I'm talking about is a trap.
Did this controller come from China?
This was made in the US of A, baby. Good old-fashioned capitalism.
Oh, no.
You will be paid.
Eventually.
You will get no medical benefits. I'm sorry.
But you're going to have to pay us back for renting that desk space, so...
It is going to take some time, yeah. Tom Nook will be in touch with you.
Tom Nook. Okay, that was a pretty good one. Fire Emblem?
There's a couple of ways you could go, because normally Fire Emblem, I would say that, like, the controller would just be a attachment to your head. That's sort of a UI that follows you around all day for all of the things that you hold very dear in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And then they attach that to a character in the video game, and if you lose the character in the video game, then that thing in real life also blows up, and you can never retrieve it again. But the other part of the game is that you are kind of just like a school student.
Mm.
And so I think this could be like a LARP sort of controller.
A LARPing controller?
Yeah, so you get like an outfit for the school.
Uh-huh.
And it's obviously cool and cute. And you can put that on and go to a designated area with other people who are playing the game.
Uh-huh.
Not unlike Pokemon Go or something.
Sure.
And you mingle. And the sensor in your shirt or your hat or wherever can tell how emotionally satisfied you are. And then you get experience points based on how deep of friends you make with the people at this event.
Whoa.
And if it goes badly, you can go back to Kingdom Hearts and strap on the sad meter, and it'll sense that, and you can win the game there.
Oh my gosh. And you're also using Hideo's controller as well.
It's true. I'm always using Hideo's controller.
That was beautiful. I like that.
Yeah, I think I want to play that video game. The one where you just go make friends and everybody's cool about it. And
the
also
one where you
like
LARP?
The one where you LARP and are friends with people.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait. I'm describing outside. I forgot that's off limits still.
Still off limits. Sorry, guys.
I just devised a plan to be out in the real world, which is impossible.
We'll get there.
Okay, I think that's a good list. I think that's enough to go on for the next week or so.
I think so.
Sweet. David.
Yes?
We're on Twitter, man.
We are. You do some pretty good Photoshops.
There's some Photoshops some Snapchats disguised as Photoshops. I use the same photo of our faces every time, so I may need some new pictures of us. So if you're on Twitter and would like to go give us a little follow or talk to us or see what's going on, do that. Also, if you're from Live Oak, what the fuck is going on out there? Is there a groundswell of Live Oakers, California, that are just living the Podtimism dream that we don't know about? Get on Twitter and tell us about it, because something's going on in Live Oak, California, that they're just crazy about the Podtimism.
Something is good in the water.
Something in the water is driving them towards us, which I like, but am deeply confused about why that is the case.
Don't question it. Just let it happen.
It is too late. I am not letting it happen. I need to hear from these people.
All right. I'm into it.
Yeah, still quarantined, and so still on the weekly schedule, and that is still going on. We will let you know when we're going back to the twice monthly, but until then, you are drowning in Podtimism.
Good stuff.
With that, David, do you have just a morsel of gaming wisdom? The seriousness that came over your whole person.
Gotta give the kids something good.
Gotta give a serious something on those Live Oakers to chew on for a little while.
Video games are like a rib. It's delicious on the outside, and then when it gets tough, it's just letting you know that it's hiding the thing that's best for you. That sweet, sweet video game marrow.
Bone marrow.
Bone marrow is ready.
David eats bone marrow whenever he eats ribs. It's an intense visage that he creates.
It's the best stuff for you. It's how I keep this youthful complexion.
David, this is wild. I don't know anyone else who just chows on marrow like it's nothing.
It's something my dad did. I don't know if it's like Peruvian mountain folk thing, but it's something we do. I don't know.
I'm definitely not throwing shade. It was just a very confusing sight the first time I saw you cracking open a bone. Like,
you were terrified.
No, baby, there's more food in there. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
This is just the pre-food fight. This is when the food still fights back at you. Gotta get to the good stuff. And now
it's good and dead.
Now everybody loves it. Everyone loves bone marrow now. I was just ahead of my time.
It's true. You've been drinking the real bone broth for 20 to 30 years now.
Maybe that's why I'm so much taller than the rest of my family. I was just infusing my bones with more bones. I've got double bones.
Hey, it's me, David Double Bone Benavides.
Hey, that's another DB.
That is another DB. It's a DB within a DB.
Mm-hmm.
David Double Bones Benavides.
Yeah, there you go. DDBB.
Sweepy BBD. DDDB. Oh, God. HBD.
B.
From. HBD from Sweepy DDBB.
What? I thought it was Sweepy BBDBBD.
This is for no one. This is not an entertaining podcast. We are shutting this down right now.
Oh, no, man. This is pretty good. This is good content, right?